So, hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Willkommen im letzten Kapitel. Ja, wir haben jetzt rausgekriegt, was Kyokos besondere Fähigkeit ist. Ja, ultimative Detektivin, was hätte man erwartet? Aber gut. Ansonsten gibt es auch noch ein paar andere interessante Informationen, zum Beispiel der Schulleiter war ihr Vater. Oder ist, wir wissen es nicht. Und ansonsten, dass augenscheinlich noch mehr als Mikro hinter diesem Ultimate Despair-Kram, der ultimativen Verzweiflung steht. Was genau es damit auf sich hat, das werden wir dann wohl in naher Zukunft erfahren. The Ultimate Despair. A group of people who caused the tragedy 1 year ago. Those same people put together this killing game and began broadcasting it around the world. The most desperately awful group of people ever. That is the mastermind's true identity. Our enemy has finally been revealed. But right now we have to get out of this horrible place. Figuring out the rest of the story can come after. Yeah, you're right. Kyoko, do you still have that one thing? Monokuma's secret tool that you got from the headmaster's room?
Indeed.
Of course I do. It's an absolutely vital part of ensnaring the mastermind. I would never part with it. And it can open any door in the school, right?
That's right.
Then we should be able to use it on that door, right? Hey Kyoko, we can use that key of yours to open this door, right?
It's true.
Let's find out. Ja, so ein Generalschlüssel ist praktisch. Kyoko took out the key with the Monokuma design on it and slid it into the keyhole. And then... click! Yes, it opened.
Indeed.
And now we can get out of here. Let's go. Sounds good. We quickly opened the door and made our escape from the garbage pit. Finally. We were finally free. But there wasn't even time to take a breath of relief, because the real fight had just begun. Kapitel 6. Ultimate pain, ultimate suffering, ultimate despair, ultimate execution, ultimate death. Direct deadly life. After leaving the garbage pit, we found ourselves in a tunnel extending straight up like a chimney. There was a metal ladder leading up into the tunnel. We started climbing the ladder, intent on reaching the surface. The ladder was impossibly long. I couldn't even see where it ended. We climbed into the darkness. The passage was so dark and cramped, I couldn't even see my own feet beneath me. Oh, ich möchte so eine Leiter nicht mit Absätzen klettern. I had no idea we were so far down.
Hey.
Don't lose your footing. If you slip, I won't be able to catch you. Yeah, I'll be careful. But now that you said that, I'm getting kind of nervous. Maybe talking will help keep my mind off it. So Kyoko, there's something I wanted to ask you. You said you're the ultimate detective, right? So how long have you been doing detective work? How long?
So...
Ever since I can remember. I come from a long line of detectives. Detective work is in my blood. There was a time when being a detective was considered a sacred duty. My family's always seen it that way. Then, is your family famous?
Wrong.
Quite the opposite, actually. Even among actual detectives, many people haven't heard of us. But how come? It's like a family tradition, right? So...
Right.
Because we take pride in it. Pride?
Indeed.
A detective is neither light nor shadow. We represent neither justice nor evil. That is how we can uncover the absolute truth. We stand neutral in all things, and to do that, we have to stand separate from the rest of society. which is why we've made a conscious effort to conceal our existence. A conscious effort?
It's true.
It's kind of old-fashioned, and I can't say it's entirely rational. But it's our family creed, and we do what we must to protect it. Because, like I said, it's our source of pride. Pride. So that explains. Before I came here, when I was looking up info about the school online, I never saw anything about her. Because she hid herself on purpose to protect the pride of her family.
However,
Man muss auch sagen, das ist ein ziemlich japanisches Trope, aber kommt häufiger vor. And yet, I gave up on some of the pride. Huh? In order to enter Hope's Peak, I had to reveal myself to the school. I did it knowing it was something a true Kirigiri detective would never do. But the reason you gave up that pride, the reason you would go so far to enter Hope's Peak, it was because that's how much you wanted to reconnect with your dad, right? There's no shame in that.
what?
Reconnect? I had absolutely no desire to reconnect with my father. Huh? But you'd be reuniting after all those years, right? You would have had so much to talk about.
Wrong.
There's nothing I want to talk to my father about.
However,
There is something I want to say to him, though. What? No matter what it takes, I have to find him and tell him face to face. What is it?
So...
I want to sever all ties with him. Sever? The last time I saw him, I was still very young. So I don't remember myself, but apparently he was extremely intelligent. He was in line to become the next head of the Kirigiri family. He was still talented, he had a promising future.
However,
But he had no interest in detective work. So he cut himself off from the family. Not long after that, my mother died and he simply ran away. He went to my grandfather and they had a huge argument. And young as I was, he left me behind. I'm sure there was a reason for that. I'm sure your dad wanted to take you with him.
right.
If that's true, then I need to thank him. Thank him for leaving me. Because unlike him, I take pride in the work I do. Take pride in my family name. So every last part of me is happy he didn't take me with him. If I'd gone with him, I never would have had the chance to become a detective. I was above Kyoko on the ladder, so I wasn't able to see her expression. So I couldn't tell. I couldn't see how she looked when she said that, what she might have been feeling. All I could tell was that compared to her usual self, she was more talkative and more emotional. I don't blame him, you know? He had his own life to live. That's what anyone in my position might say, right? But it's not true.
However,
But there's one thing. One thing that I can never forgive. Really?
so...
The way everyone else looked at me. I was never sad about being left behind. Like I said, I think it was a good thing.
However,
But when the rest of my family looked at me, they saw something different. They only saw me as the little girl that was abandoned by her father. That's how they see me even to this day. His shadow has been following me my entire life. I'm sick of it. I need him out of my life. I need to step out of his shadow.
correct.
That's why I have to find him and tell him we're no longer family. In order to settle the past. In order to remove him from my life forever. I have no doubt he forgot about me years ago. But your family, to just cut him out like that.
Wrong.
Our only connection is through blood, nothing more. Are we connected by heart and soul? No.
Hey,
Is blood really enough to call someone family? Only connected by blood, not by heart or soul. I was so shocked to hear her say something like that, I didn't know how to respond. So instead, I said nothing. I just kept climbing the ladder in complete silence. And after I don't know how long, we finally reached the top. Looks like this is it.
Indeed.
On the other side of this door, Hope's Peak is waiting for us. We're back.
That's right.
Remember that hatch on the ground near the trash room? I'm fairly certain that's where we'll come out. I unlocked it earlier, so it should open without much trouble. Well, here goes nothing. I reached my right hand up and pushed against the hatch. The hatch opened with ease, and so... looks like we're back.
Whew.
But I can't believe how long that ladder was. I'm exhausted. I can't exactly say we're safe and sound, but at least we're out of there. Now we're back in Hope's Peak Academy. Kyoko, thank you. I never would have gotten out of there without you. No thanks necessary. I was just returning the favor. So now what do we do? I'm glad I didn't die, of course, but if the mastermind finds out, and I'm worried about you too, you helped me, so they might...
Listen.
You're worried? Yeah, of course.
So then...
Then let's just get a concrete answer. Huh?
In other words...
Let's ask Monokuma if there's a problem with you escaping. Wait, that's...
However...
If we try to hide, it's only a matter of time till we're found out. And it's not like we can run away. As she said that, she pointed at the nearby surveillance camera. So he's saying rather than stressing out over getting caught, we should just give up now? Don't worry, what you think is going to happen isn't. Because the mastermind is the one that's ensnared. The mastermind is ensnared. You said something like that before. What does it mean?
So...
The mastermind stood exposed during the investigation into Mokuro's death. There was a moment where the mastermind let their guard down. There was?
Right.
If we can talk to Monokuma, we can confirm it. And it'll be better for us if we go to him directly before he tracks us down. That should help with our negotiations. I'm still a little, super uneasy about this. But we don't really have a choice, do we?
Indeed.
Monokuma should be in the gym.
Shall we go?
Let's get going. Jo. Dann. Es ist Nacht, die anderen sind also höchstwahrscheinlich im Bett. Aber warum Monokuma jetzt in der Sporthalle ist, weiß ich auch nicht. Irgendeine Bewandtnis hat es wohl. Vielleicht bastelt er sich auch selbst wieder zusammen, ich weiß es nicht. Aber ich sag mal, wir steuern noch auf einige krasse Plot-Twists zu. Das wird interessant.
Well now. Hey. Kyoko, I don't mind so much. I don't believe it! But Makoto's supposed to be dead. What's he doing here?
That's exactly how I thought he'd react. Are we really gonna be okay?
You were supposed to be punished. Did Kyoko help you?
What?
So what if I did? What will you do?
Shing! If the guilty part is exposed during the class trial, they alone will be executed. It's unfortunate, but that is the rule. So now I got... me angry! So now I gotta punish you again! And this time I won't leave anything to chance.
Kyoko,
Right.
do whatever you feel you have to. What?
However...
But before you do, let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
If you execute Makoto, that means you lose. Not that that matters to you, right?
I lose? Hey! You! Explain yourself! What do you mean by that?
Because...
Well, you set up this latest class trial yourself, right? I was getting in your way, so you wanted an excuse to kill me.
In other words...
I was supposed to be chosen as the Blackened and then executed, right?
Hey, what are you talking about?
However,
But when Makoto chose to overlook my lie, the plan came crashing down. The results of the trial weren't at all what you were expecting. Because you never imagined that in that position one person would protect another like that.
right.
And in response to that unexpected development,
Indeed.
you reacted by proclaiming Makoto the Blackened and trying to execute him. You made the choice out of desperation. No, more than that. You must have realized that Makoto, who refused to be manipulated, was a threat to you as well.
However,
But then there was another unexpected development waiting for you. An entity that would throw a wrench, so to speak, in your precious execution machinery. Alter ego. You never imagined the possibility of a being that could come to our aid even after you'd killed it.
am I wrong?
Now here's the absolute truth. Makoto didn't kill Mukuro, you did.
Listen to me.
So executing Makoto for it would surely be a violation of your rules, which I know you love so much. If the Blackened is exposed, they alone will be executed. That's what you told us, right?
And that means I lose? You talk a big game. You're saying the Blackened is me and not Makoto? Well? And you can prove this, right?
Well,
No, I can't.
Don't just say it like that. What is this, a comedy routine? To make such bold claims without a shred of evidence.
that doesn't matter.
I don't have any right now, but with a little more time I guarantee I'll find some.
That's right.
Because no matter how deeply you try to bury it, there's only ever one absolute truth.
And now you're trying to talk like some kind of famous detective type?
Because
If Makoto really was the killer, he never would have come to you willingly like this. He would have feared for his life, feared another execution. He would have tried to run and hide. He would have been gripped by the despair you so love to inspire.
however,
But here we are, confronting you with nothing but hope in our hearts.
What the heck? And that's supposed to be enough to convince me in the absence of evidence?
indeed.
It's not you I'm trying to convince.
Hey,
If you were to execute Makoto now, everyone out there watching this would be extremely displeased. Huh?
indeed.
Imagine what everyone out there would think if you killed Makoto. They would assume that you killed him because what we said is exactly right.
Listen to me.
Despair can never kill hope. Da haben wir wieder dieses klassische Thema.
Hey,
Of course you can say we're just making this all up. You're welcome to prove us wrong. No, you have no choice but to prove it. Because if you kill Makoto without proving your own innocence, you'll be accepting your own defeat. If you want to earn out a spare, fair and square,
that's what we have to
then I
do.
suggest you take my advice.
So, what is this advice of yours?
It's true.
To do Mokuro's trial over again. Only this time you follow the school regulations to ensure a fair trial.
It's time for one last showdown. One final battle between hope and despair. Hey,
Well, that would make for a proper climax, wouldn't you say? A fair trial. One last showdown. In other words, this would be our chance to expose the true identity of Mukuro's killer, of the mastermind themselves. But what reason would the mastermind have to accept the challenge? They'd probably just execute me without another word.
Interesting. Barrett! Very interesting indeed.
Barry?
What's wrong? Oh, I was getting bored, so I decided to change things up a little. So time for bear jokes. Now, what you've suggested might be plausible. It would certainly make for one honey of a climax.
in other words,
Does that mean you accept?
You guys! If we do things your way, that'll be enough to convince you and the viewers, right? It would cause you unbearable despair, right? Then I'm prepared to agree to your terms. Will your hope win out? Or will my despair claim victory?
Despair. Aua, das tut so weh.
I can barely contain myself!
Let's have one grisly showdown!
He agreed. Then we still have a shot at this.
But this is the long-awaited climax, right? Just guessing the killer's barely a fitting end.
You guys!
So for the final face-off, you'll have to unearth all the mysteries that have been buried here.
All the mysteries?
That's right, every last mystery that's pawing around the school. If you can do that,
I can barely contain myself!
then that'll be enough to qualify as a victory for you.
Koalas sind keine Bären, verdammt.
It's true.
That's what we've been trying to do all along.
Okay, well, good. Then let's bear it all. If you can claw your way to the truth of Mukuro's death and solve the mysteries of this school,
You guys!
then you win. But if you can't do all of that,
We'll all face execution, right?
I can barely contain my excitement. When you learn the whole truth, what kind of despair will you show me?
We're as excited as you are, I'm sure.
Listen to me.
When we've uncovered every last truth, how will the ultimate despair reveal their own despair? I honestly can't believe how this has all turned out.
Hey,
But before we get started, I want to clarify one more thing. Do you remember the rule? When one student kills another, that's when a class trial is held.
What's wrong?
I remember that, for sure. So what?
hey,
I just want to confirm that is what you said, right? And it's a true statement?
You don't have to be so suspicious. I've said it before, but it bears repeating. Everything is based on the school regulations. And having a trial for Mukuro is no exception to that.
Huh? Mukuro's trial is no exception? Then it's part of the regulations? Which would have to mean that whoever killed Mukuro...
It's a very polarizing approach, I know. But okay, enough puns. Anyway, here's a hint. I'm sure I told you this already, but this killing game began with 16 participants, all of them high school students. And the only people to take a single step in Hope's Peak since the killing game began are those 16 students.
What?
listen.
Are you telling the truth? Why'd you go quiet all of a sudden?
Now I'm really angry!
I'm done talking. I've got nothing left to say to you. So get lost, would ya?
Why so mad? He seems emotionally unstable.
Hey!
Leave me alone. Get out of here.
Okay, I'm going. You're really gonna let me go?
I don't even care anymore. You're all gonna get your punishment later anyway. I need to start getting it ready. A super duper extra special punishment, overflowing with despair.
Hey,
Come on, Makoto. Let's go. Okay. Lacht nur noch weiter. Monokuma's unstable laughter seemed to cling to us as we walked away. And just like that, we were out of the gym. I could hardly believe it, but somehow I ended up not getting executed. I still had my life, and we still had a chance. Overall, things turned out way better than expected. Once again, I was in Kyoko's debt. Kyoko, thank you. Everything I have right now is because of you.
however,
Don't thank me just yet. The real battle is still ahead of us. Yeah, true. But still, I'm glad it worked out. I wasn't sure if the enemy would accept my proposal. But honestly, why would the mastermind agree to that? I mean, they don't stand to gain anything from a final showdown, do they?
So...
They had no choice but to accept. Huh?
Because...
It's all because of that one moment the Mastermind let down their guard, like I said. Was meinst du denn jetzt damit? So when was it the Mastermind let their guard down?
So...
I wasn't there to hear it myself, but do you remember what the Mastermind said? They said that they had hijacked the airwaves to broadcast our school life to the outside world, right? Yeah, they definitely said that.
Listen.
And what did you think when you heard that? Pretty hard to believe, right? Well, I mean, the idea of actually taking over the airwaves seems so unbelievable.
Indeed.
You don't exactly read about something like that happening very often, so it's hard to imagine. In other words, that kind of thing is extremely difficult to pull off.
However...
And yet somehow the Mastermind was able to do it.
In other words...
But think of it another way. There must have been some reason they had to do something that difficult. A reason?
So...
They had to show the world something, no matter the cost. Us killing each other. They wanted to show the world?
It would seem...
The Mastermind has been very adamant about not killing us directly, but forcing us to kill each other. And all their rules and regulations were designed to encourage that. Yeah, that makes sense. If those stupid regulations didn't exist, nobody would have killed anybody.
In other words...
So the Mastermind's ultimate goal was to make us kill each other and show that off to the world. But why?
Correct.
To prove a point, most likely. Prove a point?
Hey.
The outside world has a name for the students of Hope's Peak, right? A certain concept. You're talking about hope, right?
That's right.
And for those of us who represent hope, to kill each other and sink into despair. The Mastermind wants the world to see that, to try and prove that despair is better than hope. That's their goal, as the ultimate despair. What? They want to prove that despair is better than hope? But that's ridiculous.
It's true.
You're right, it is ridiculous. Completely irrational. Immerhin, das Spiel erkennt selbst, dass diese Prämisse eigentlich ziemlich bescheuert ist. It's the kind of thing that nobody but those who call themselves the ultimate despair would devise. That group whose only purpose and motivation comes from despair. Das würde auch erklären, warum Monokuma so emotional instabil wirkt. But is that really their only reason for making the rest of us suffer?
Makoto.
I know how angry it must make you, and yet... That same motivation is what led the Mastermind revealing their weakness. To the Mastermind revealing the weakness. Ich muss auch richtig aussprechen. What?
In other words...
Because their goal is to broadcast this killing game to the world. The Mastermind has had to be more particular than is reasonable about their own regulations. If the Mastermind simply ignored their rules, this wouldn't have been a game, but a one-sided slaughter.
At the very least.
At least that's how those who are watching this would have seen it. And that's why the Mastermind couldn't kill any of us themselves?
Indeed.
That is precisely the reason. No matter how much they may hate what I'm doing, I haven't violated a single one of their regulations. Junko broke the rules, so she was punished. But in my case, they couldn't lay a finger on me. Ja, Junko war die zweite, die gestorben ist. Zuerst gab's, Sayaka. Dann war Junko dran, weil sie Monokuma angegriffen hat. Er hat sich halt geweigert, bei der Sache mitzumachen und dann ist das passiert.
Right.
So instead they tried to use the class trial, following all their proper rules to get me killed. They began a trial that didn't have a right answer, then made me out to be the killer. But even that didn't work.
It's true.
Yes, thanks to you. And due to that failure, the Mastermind took yet another risk. They attempted to kill you instead, who also was not the killer. And when that fact was exposed on live TV to the entire outside world, the Mastermind had to accept your suggestion?
Indeed.
To prove to the world that despair is better than hope, they have to defeat us in perfect form.
In other words...
It would only do the Mastermind harm to have it shown that they'd violated their own regulations. But all of that was a hunch, right? And you were still able to get the mastermind to accept your challenge.
However,
Well, it's only thanks to you that we got that chance. Because you believed in me, another path opened up. Still, I can't believe how much of the mastermind's thoughts and plans you were able to figure out. I didn't have the slightest clue.
wrong.
In the end, though, I couldn't prove any of it. It was just my reasoning. Essentially, I was making a bet.
Whew.
But it looks like I got it right. This time at least, I won the bet. She let out a quick sigh. I took it as a small sign of relief. To be honest, I haven't been that nervous in a long time. I totally couldn't tell you were nervous at all. You seemed totally confident from the moment we decided to go talk to him. Well, presenting a strong demeanor is a fundamental part of negotiation and persuasion, wouldn't you say? Plus, if I'd showed my uneasiness, that would have just made you that much more uneasy. Yeah, you're probably right. How pathetic.
However,
Anyway, we can't relax just yet. All we've done is earn another chance to fight. We have to win this time.
correct.
Or everything we've gone through will have been for nothing. You're right. If we can't defeat the mastermind, it'll cost us our lives. There's no option except to win.
Hey,
But before we begin the final battle, we have to tell the others what's going on. True, but now we know who our real enemy is. All we have to do now is work together with everyone to destroy the mastermind. Work together with everyone.
however,
Is that really possible? Huh?
anyway,
Anyway, right now we have to go find the others.
shall we go?
They're probably in the dorms somewhere. Shall we go? Ja. Und Kyokos Idee kommt ja daher, wenn wirklich ein anderer Schüler hinter der ganzen Sache steckt. Dann bedeutet das, dass vielleicht einer von denen, die bei uns sind, da was verheimlicht, möchte ich meinen. Aber gut, da könnte ich euch ja jetzt mal fragen. Lasst mal in den Kommentaren eure Ideen da. Was denkt ihr, wer von den 16 Schülern, die am Anfang dabei waren, ist der Drahtzieher hinter der ganzen Geschichte? Augenscheinlich zusammen mit Mukuro Ikusaba. Ich bin gespannt, ob es da Kommentare geben wird, aber so kommen wir zum üblichen YouTube-Kram. Das heißt, bitte, wenn ihr nicht abonniert habt, dann könnt ihr das gerne tun. Glocke und so weiter. Daumen, ihr wisst das. Knöpfe mehr gedrückt, gleich Video mehr gut laut YouTube. Und es gibt natürlich noch für die, die mich unterstützen wollen, dann 3 Links in der Videobeschreibung. Ansonsten würde ich mal sagen, beenden wir das Ganze für heute und wir sehen uns bei der nächsten Folge. The Plot Thickens, würde ich mal sagen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Cheerio!